Hi, and welcome to this episode of Consciousness and Me. My name is Yusufi, and I thought today we would explore thought, or actually explore the thinker of thoughts. What if you're not the one thinking your thoughts? It's something we so easily take for granted that we think our thoughts. But is that really true? I'd like to borrow a phrase from Eckhart Tolle, where he says, "You're not the thinker of your thoughts. Thoughts happen to you." Almost like you're not the one beating your heart, and you're not the one who makes your liver do the cleansing, and you don't filtrate your blood. You trust your kidneys to do that work. And a little bit like that, it's with our thoughts as well. And bear with me if your impulse is to object, because I'm not questioning whether it feels like we are the thinker, but let's explore if we are the thinker. Let's do an experiment. Let's say I told you to think about an elephant. I'm not gonna jump ahead, but I have a hunch you're thinking about an animal with a trunk, big one. And if I were to tell you that it's placed out on the savannah with its entire tribe, what pops up in your head? Do you get an image, or do you get a sensation, or do you get words? Did you choose to think about that? Did you have an option? When I mentioned elephant in the savannah, were you ever asked what was going to pop up in your head? Or did it just happen to you? And this is not something to be believed, because on that level we could argue back and forth, but it's rather an invitation to actually go to our own experience. What happened inside of me? And let's explore something else, because now my voice was the thing that triggered your inner world to show you images and thoughts. But let's say, for instance, that you decide to think about what you had for breakfast yesterday. And I don't know what you had for breakfast, but let's say you had a peanut butter sandwich, because that's kind of what I did. So when I think about breakfast, what aspect comes up for you? And also notice what you didn't think of. Did you think about the packaging of your breakfast? Did you think about who the people you were sitting with? Did you think about what you were listening to? What time it was? How much other stuff was on the table in front of you? Did you choose which aspect to think about around breakfast? Did you choose which image was going to pop up, or what associations you were going to make when you thought about breakfast yesterday? And even the thought, now I'm going to think about breakfast. Did you have a choice in that matter? Where did that choice come from? It feels like I'm the one who decided, I'm the one who thought about breakfast. But looking at the evidence, is that actually true? Is that where it came from? And if there's something rebelling inside of you, that's you're not alone in that. That's probably quite a common thing, because we are so accustomed to being the thinker of our thoughts. And something inside of us really wants us to be the thinker. And that's an interesting one to explore as well. Why is it important for us to be the thinker of our thoughts? How would your inner world change if you found out that you weren't the thinker of your thoughts? You could decide them just as little as you could decide what leaves blow past you in the wind. You couldn't decide over your thoughts any more than you can decide over the clouds in the sky. They're a passing show. They can be useful, yes, You can act on the thoughts and they can make creativity come alive and they can structure reality for you. We can think rationally and logical. But how much say do we have in it? I would like to suggest that if we see through the illusion of the thinker, if we realize that we're not the thinker of our thoughts, they don't become so important. We become less prone of judging them. It's almost like we can see this parade of thoughts passing by. And if we don't find them useful or we don't find them very interesting, we could just let them pass. But every now and then there's something that sparks our curiosity that could be useful. And then we can utilize or we can interact or we can engage in that. But they don't become a direct reflection of who I am, of my essence. They're just part of my inner world. And they don't hold more power than I give them. And if we're very identified with being the thinker and we hold on to our thoughts as though they're like a badge of honor, or they're like a really an expression of ourselves, whatever we think, then it can become a bit of an identity crisis. Because if I don't think my thoughts, then who am I? What am I if I'm not the thinker of my thoughts? And that's an interesting place to be in. The space of not knowing who we are. Of actually looking at the evidence inside, rather than using our thoughts to find out who we are. We can use thoughts, but we don't need to. We are alive. We are ourselves. We're the embodiment of the answer. Perhaps it cannot be phrased in language, in thought. I don't think it can. But I'm pretty sure it can be lived. It can be experienced. It can be embodied. The nature of our being. Our true selves. I find this to be such an interesting topic. And we could go on for quite a while, but I think I'm gonna hit the brakes there on this episode. And then I'm curious to hear about you. What are your thoughts? What are your experience? How do you relate to your thoughts? And the inner thinker. Are you the thinker of your thoughts? If you have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to share, please do utilize the comment section. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time.